What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the NECA Ultimate Edition Xenomorph Warrior from the movie Aliens. And so here we have the Xenomorph Warrior posed and out of the packaging. Before we have a look at the figure, let's actually take a look at what the Xenomorph comes with. The Xenomorph does come with 3 accessories. We do get the Facehugger egg, which is already open, which is a nice little accessory. We of course do get the Facehugger, which is another really nice detail accessory that has a wireframe in the tail. Then finally we get the Chestburster Alien, which again, just like the Facehugger, has a wireframe throughout it. Other than that, we don't get anything else with the Xenomorph. I honestly don't know what more you'd want from a Xenomorph. I mean, he comes with an egg, a Facehugger, and a Chestburster. That's pretty much all you really need. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually have a closer look at the Xenomorph Warrior. So here we have a closer look at the Xenomorph Warrior. Now this is of course the blue variation that we got from NECA, which I was honestly more excited for than the brown version, but having them both in hand, I think the brown one goes more with my collection, and we'll talk about that later. But that's not saying that this isn't a really nice piece. I really do like this Xenomorph mold. I don't know if this is the original mold that they had for the Xenomorph Warrior in the past, or if this is an updated one. I want to say this is updated just because he lacks bicep swivels right up here. We have the newer swivel right here. And we have ball joints in the hips instead of the ball hinges. So this is probably a completely new mold that they made specifically for this rendition of the Xenomorph Warrior. Which, I'm not going to lie, I really love this mold. And this is one of the most iconic Xenomorphs that we've seen. Now, unlike the first Xenomorph from Alien, the Aliens don't actually have the clear dome on their head. Now, part of the reason was, I think the reason they said in the lore is that the planet they're on has more mechanical stuff, or that these are more mature Xenomorphs, so they lack the dome. I honestly don't know which one to believe, but it does have that mechanized look that they had throughout the compound, so I'm going to go with that one. But it does look really nice. I love the detailing work in it. You can see all these nice little ridges that are sculpted on the figure. We have some of these little tubers that just look horrifying if you were to actually see something like that. I really don't know what you would think about it. It's kind of spine-chilling when you think of the anatomy of a Xenomorph. We of course have these little tubes that run from its jaw all the way to the back right here. We do have this little fin right here that goes on the back of these tubes. I forgot what these tubes exactly were supposed to do. I think these were like, I don't know, I've heard different things, that these tubes are supposed to be like air sacs or help the Xenomorph regulate air. I don't know. I can't say 100% because the lore always changes, but he does look good. Now, like I said, the Xenomorph here does have a blue wash throughout the figure. It doesn't look bad, although some places it does look green. Like right here you can see it looks blue, but right here it looks a little bit green. I don't have an issue with that because it does have that mechanized feel to it. This one doesn't feel as organic as the brown one, but he still has this really nice look to him. And if you were to have like I want to say a spaceship background, you'd want to use the blue one because he'd probably blend in a little bit better. But really do love the anatomy of these Xenomorphs, just how horrifyingly gruesome it looks. You can see all these little lines and ridges and tubes and whatever you want to call them just throughout the figure, and it looks very cliched but very alien-like, and I do like that. Unlike the big chap, which had more human-like hands, the Xenomorphs from Aliens only have they still have 4 digits, but you can see that they have these really long elongated fingers and thumbs, and they're kind of like this all the time, and that's kind of creepy. Just look at how strange those hands look. Very, very nice figure though. Really love the sculpt work and the paint on him. I just love the way NECA does the paint on the Xenomorphs. They color the figure, then they put the wash on it, then they go back with a clear coat of gloss, and it looks slimy, it looks gross, and I really do like that. I think the one thing I would add to this figure, if it was up to me, is drool. Xenomorphs do drool a lot, and they could really do that, especially at the mouth. The tail here does have a bendy wire, so you can pose that around. So overall, the sculpt work on the Xenomorph, Beautiful, beautiful work here on the Xenomorph. And like I said, the one issue I might have is the lack of drool on the figure, but that can be fixed either by me or by modification, so it's not a big deal, honestly. So, with the detailing out of the way, let's actually have a comparison between the Xenomorph and other figures you may have in your collection. Here we have the Xenomorph Warrior posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops in the DC Multiverse Superman. Here we have the Xenomorph Warrior posed next to a WWE Elite Scale figure in a Mezco 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. Here we have the blue Xenomorph posed next to a Lightning Collection White Ranger in a Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. And finally, here we do have the Xenomorph Warrior posed next to the Xenomorph Big Chap and the Xenomorph from Aliens Resurrection. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually run through the Xenomorph's articulation now. The Xenomorph does have a ball joint here at the head. You can see on mine it is kind of loose. I'm not really doing much and that head is bobbling around. But once you turn it to a certain point, it doesn't have that bobble. So it's probably just the up and down bobble that it has. We do have left and right movement, which does work really nicely. We do have a hinge right here in the neck, which is pretty stiff on mine. You can see he does look back. The Xenomorph would be able to look further back, but it does run into this back fin, and again, you can see how loose that head is. That is really problematic. But anyway, moving on to the articulation, we do have ball hinges here at the shoulder, which only go out to about there. They would do a full 360, but you can see they do jet off to the side because of the sculpt work here on the shoulders, but they go around no problem. We don't have a traditional bicep swivel, but we do have an elbow swivel right down here, double bend here at the elbow. It is a little bit stuck on mine, and I do want to be careful because I've already broken one of these Xenomorphs. But yeah, we do have double jointed elbows right here. For some reason we have forearm swivel, which I'm never a fan of forearm swivel. I don't think it's really necessary. We do have a swivel and hinge here at the wrist. Works no problem. Then we also have articulated forefingers, so that does work really nicely. Moving on to the torso of the Xenomorph, we have a really nice ball joint. Does lean to the side. To the other side, does go that far forward, that far back. I kind of wish it had a little more forward momentum just to get it in more crouching poses, but it'll do what you need it to do. So really do like that. Now, like I said, this is a new Xenomorph using the ball joints instead of the ball hinges. As you can see, we do have ball joints here at the hips, so they do go out to about that far. They go forward to about right there. They do go back to about that far. We do have thigh rotation, which works no problem. We have a double bend here at the knee. Works pretty good. Then we do have a knee swivel right here on the upper joint, which it does work if you have this leg going out. Let me see if I can just do this really quickly. If you have this leg going out, you can swivel that forward and bring the knee down, and you get a more natural fluid motion, so I do like that. We do have a ball joint here at the foot, which does go back and forth a little bit. We do have some slight rocker ankle. We have a toe hinge, as you can see, works no problem. We have a swivel here at the base of the tail. And then we do have a wireframe, so you can pose that tail. I want to say however you want, but it really doesn't, because it's kind of stiff right up here, so you can't do much until you get to about 1/4 of the way down to the tail, and then you can start posing it however you want. So I really do like the wireframe, just wish it was a little bit stronger, or the plastic right here was just a tiny bit thinner. But overall, really like the way this figure came out. So what we're going to do now is get him posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have the blue Xenomorph pose for my final thoughts, and overall I think NECA has done a fantastic job with this figure. Like I said, this is the Ultimate Edition version of the blue Xenomorph. However, I think this is an updated mold. I can't be 100% sure because I don't have the original Xenomorph Warrior from Aliens in my collection, so I don't know if the elbow swivel is something it's always had, or if it had more of a traditional bicep cut. I think this is a newer figure just because of the way the hips work. NECA usually uses ball hinges for the hips, and these ones do use ball joints, so that makes me believe that the newer versions of the Xenomorph Warriors do have some modified articulation that the old ones might not, which I think the ball hinges, though they are functional, do have some problems that the ball joints just don't. Overall, I think these figures are really, really impressive. I love the sculpt work on the NECA Xenomorphs. I think they're fantastic. You really don't find other companies that make Xenomorphs with this much detail, and the paint work on it. is really nice. Although it does look green in some parts, it looks blue under my harsh lights, especially from this distance, so it does look really, really nice. Now, like I said, I was more excited for the blue Xenomorphs than the brown ones, but having these guys in my collection, they do stand out a little bit too much because they don't really match with all the other Xenomorphs I have. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I can actually use these for photos, which I will have at the end of this video. If you are a fan of aliens and you want some Xenomorphs in your collection, thankfully NECA has re-released these guys and they are available at Walmart, Target, and other online retailers, so go ahead and try to track them down. They will run you about $30, which is what NECA is starting to charge for their Ultimate Edition figures, which I think is a fair pricing, is how they have a lot of articulation. These guys really don't have that many accessories, so I really can't knock them for accessories because they're Xenomorphs. What do you want them to do? Have swords, knives, guns? Doesn't really work for a Xenomorph, but the egg, facehugger, and the chestburster all work for this figure. So if you guys are looking for these guys, check your local Walmarts, Targets, and other online retailers. With that being said, guys, I'm King of Dragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go check out all my other action figure reviews as well as all my other NECA and Alien videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it's in my collection, I'll definitely have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.